You keep choosing the wrong person, and you think it's just bad luck. It's not. You're following a pattern programmed into you before you could even talk. Right now, without realizing it, you're attracted to people who trigger your deepest attachment wounds. The unavailable person. That's not random. The one who's hot and cold. Not a coincidence. The one who makes you feel crazy. That's your nervous system recognizing something familiar. And familiar feels like love, even when it's actually trauma. There's a psychological framework that explains exactly why you're drawn to people who hurt you. It's called attachment theory. And once you understand your attachment style, you'll see why every relationship seems to follow the same script. More importantly, you'll finally know how to change it. Stay with me because this might be the most important 12 minutes of your dating life. In the 1950s, a psychologist named John Bowlby did something controversial. He studied what happened to children separated from their mothers during World War II. And he discovered something that changed psychology forever. The way your primary caregivers treated you between the ages of 0 and 3 hardwired your brain's understanding of love. Not what love should be, but what love is. If your caregiver was consistently available, your brain learned people are safe. Connection is reliable. If your caregiver was inconsistent, your brain learned people are unpredictable. I need to be on high alert. If your caregiver was dismissive, your brain learned people are dangerous. I need to stay independent. This isn't conscious. This is operating system level programming. And here's what most people don't realize. You don't consciously choose partners who match your attachment style. Your nervous system does it for you. That spark you feel on a first date. That's not chemistry. That's your brain recognizing a familiar attachment pattern. Research from the University of California found something disturbing. People with insecure attachment styles are 73% more likely to choose partners who reinforce their wounds, not heal them. Reinforce them. Because your brain doesn't seek what's healthy. It seeks what's familiar. Let me show you the 3 insecure attachment styles and how each one sabotages your love life in a different way. First up is anxious attachment. If you have anxious attachment, you were raised by an inconsistent caregiver. Sometimes they were loving and attentive, sometimes they were cold and distant. You never knew which version you'd get. So your nervous system developed a strategy, hypervigilance. You learned to constantly scan for signs of abandonment. You learned to perform for love, thinking that if you're good enough, try hard enough, or give enough, maybe they'll stay. Now, as an adult, you're attracted to emotionally unavailable people. Not because you're broken, but because unavailability feels familiar. That person who takes hours to text back. Your brain lights up. That person who's not ready for a relationship. You want to prove you're worth it. That person who keeps you guessing. That's not exciting, that's triggering. Your nervous system mistakes anxiety for attraction. The racing heart, the obsessive thoughts, the constant checking of your phone. You think that's passion. It's actually panic. In relationships, you might come on strong at the beginning, love bombing, over-texting, moving too fast. They pull away naturally because it's overwhelming. You panic and pursue harder. They pull away more. You spiral into protest behavior, calling repeatedly, showing up unannounced, having emotional explosions. Finally, they either leave or give you just enough attention to calm you down. And the cycle repeats. People with anxious attachment describe themselves as passionate. Therapists call it intermittent reinforcement addiction. You're not in love with the person, you're addicted to the anxiety they create because anxiety is what your brain learned love feels like. Next, we have avoidant attachment. If you're avoidant, you had a caregiver who was emotionally unavailable. Maybe they were physically present but emotionally absent, or they dismissed your feelings, or even punished you for needing them. So you learned that needing people is dangerous. You adapted by becoming hyper-independent. You learned to suppress your needs, and that self-sufficiency equals safety. As an adult, your pattern is to be attracted to people who need you more than you need them. At first, you love it. Someone who's into you, wants to spend time with you, and is emotionally available. You feel powerful, in control, and safe. But the moment they want commitment, your nervous system screams danger. Suddenly, they're too needy or moving too fast. You feel suffocated and you pull away. Avoidance sabotage relationships by creating escape routes. You keep your options open just in case. You mentally catalog your partner's flaws, building a case for why it won't work. You pick fights about nothing when things get too intimate. You use phrases like "I need space" or "I value my independence," but what you're really saying is, "I'm terrified of needing you." Because needing someone means they have the power to hurt you. And you learn that lesson early. Avoidants often describe themselves as not ready or commitment phobic. Therapists call it counterdependency. You're not more evolved because you don't need anyone. You're just hiding your needs behind a wall of self-sufficiency. And the cruel irony. Avoidants are often attracted to anxious people because anxious people do all the pursuing, which feels safe. Until it doesn't. Our third style is disorganized attachment. This is the rarest and most painful. Disorganized attachment happens when your caregiver was your source of both comfort and fear. Maybe they were loving sometimes and abusive other times. Maybe they had an addiction or mental illness. Your brain learned an impossible equation. The person who is supposed to keep you safe is also the person who hurts you. So you developed contradictory strategies. You crave closeness, but fear it simultaneously. You want intimacy, but expect betrayal. You pull people close, then push them away. As an adult, your relationships are often chaotic. You're attracted to unstable people, not because you like drama, but because chaos feels like home. The partner who's incredible one week and terrible the next. That's familiar. The relationship that's constantly breaking up and getting back together. That's what love looked like growing up. The person who says they love you while treating you poorly. Your brain recognizes that pattern. Disorganized attachment shows up as being terrified of being alone, but also terrified of being close. You oscillate between clinging and fleeing. You test people constantly. Do you really love me? Then sabotage it when they say yes. Will you leave me? Then push them away before they can. You create the very abandonment you fear because at least when you cause it, you're in control. People with this style often describe their relationships as intense or complicated. Therapists call it the fear-shame bind. You shame yourself for needing people, but you're terrified of them leaving. So you stay in toxic relationships because something feels better than nothing, and you convince yourself that love is supposed to hurt. Now, here's where it gets dark. Anxious and avoidant attachment styles are magnetically attracted to each other. Not because they're compatible, but because they recreate each other's childhood wounds perfectly. Let me show you the dance. First, the meeting. The anxious person is drawn to the avoidant's independence, thinking they're so confident. The avoidant is drawn to the anxious person's warmth, thinking they're so open. Both feel like they've found their missing piece. Next, the honeymoon. At first, it works. The anxious person gets the attention they crave, and the avoidant gets the affection they secretly want. But then, the trigger. The anxious person starts wanting more time, more commitment, more reassurance. This triggers the avoidance fear of being engulfed. They pull back. This, in turn, triggers the anxious person's fear of abandonment. They pursue harder. Now they're locked in the anxious-avoidant trap. The more anxious pursues, the more avoidant withdraws. The more avoidant withdraws, the more anxious pursues. Each person is confirming the other's core wound. The anxious person thinks, "See, people always leave me," while driving them away with pursuit. The avoidant thinks, "See, people always want too much," while creating that desperation through withdrawal. They think they're incompatible, but actually, they're too compatible. They're perfectly matched to re-traumatize each other. A study from the University of Illinois that tracked these couples found that 94% either broke up or stayed in chronically dissatisfied relationships because neither person was addressing their own wound. They were just acting it out, over and over again. So, how do you stop this cycle? First, the truth no one wants to hear. You can't heal your attachment wounds by finding the right person. You heal them by becoming securely attached to yourself. Secure attachment looks like this. You can be intimate without losing yourself, and independent without avoiding connection. You experience anxiety but don't act on it impulsively. You want relationships, but don't need them to feel whole. You can communicate your needs without manipulation, and set boundaries without guilt. Secure attachment isn't a personality type. It's a set of skills, and skills can be learned. First, identify your protest behaviors. Anxious people, what do you do when you feel someone pulling away? Blow up their phone. Pick fights? Threaten to leave. Those are protest behaviors. Your wounded inner child is trying to force a connection. Next time you feel that panic rising, pause. Don't act. Sit with the discomfort. It won't kill you, even though your nervous system thinks it will. Second, identify your deactivating strategies. Avoidant people, what do you do when someone gets too close? Find flaws. Need space. Think about an ex. Those are deactivating strategies. Your wounded inner child is protecting you from hurt. Next time you feel that suffocation rising, pause. Don't withdraw. Stay present with the discomfort. It won't trap you. Third, here's the cheat code. Date secure people. Stop dating people who trigger your attachment wounds and start dating people who make you feel calm. I know calm doesn't feel like chemistry. That's because your chemistry detector is broken. It's calibrated to recognize danger as excitement. So, recalibrate it. If you're anxious, find someone who's consistently available, even if it feels boring at first. If you're avoidant, find someone who respects your space, even if it feels too easy. If you're disorganized, find someone who's stable, even if it feels unfamiliar. Secure people will feel wrong at first. Too stable, too reliable, too safe. That's your nervous system complaining. Ignore it. Finally, do the work. I'm going to be honest, you probably need therapy. Not because you're broken, but because attachment wounds are pre-verbal trauma. You can't just think your way out of them. You have to rewire them through things like EMDR, somatic therapy, or attachment-focused therapy. Find a therapist who specializes in attachment and commit to the process. Because, here's the truth, you'll keep choosing the wrong person until you heal the part of you that thinks wrong is right. Your attachment style isn't your destiny, it's your starting point. You learned these patterns when you were too young to choose. But now, you can choose. You can choose to recognize the pattern. You can choose to pause instead of react. You can choose to date people who feel safe instead of people who feel familiar. And you can choose to heal not by finding the perfect partner, but by becoming your own secure base. If this explained your entire dating history, drop a comment. What's your attachment style? And if you want more on relationships, psychology, and breaking toxic patterns, you know what to do. Thanks for watching. Remember, chemistry isn't destiny, and the person who makes you anxious isn't your soulmate. They're just familiar, and you deserve better than familiar. You deserve secure,